are we feeling? Consumer confidence. Well, they can make these numbers do whatever they want to. It would be kind of ridiculous to think that consumer confidence would be way up, given all the reality. But this almost looks like the Dow Jones Industrial Average when you think about it. And this is what Bernanke and his boys know. They can make people feel pretty confident as long as the Dow Jones Industrial Average is going up. Remember the ice cream? Distract them with ice cream. They won't hear any of that other stuff. So consumer confidence, as we all know, is still not very strong, right? Probably why a lot of you guys are here, you're not feeling real good about where the economy's going. But look at consumer spending. You know, we say we're not confident, but what do? We're still spending money like crazy. That hasn't really dropped off very much, so consumer spending getting stronger and stronger. Where are we getting the money from? Well, it's debt. We're piling on debt. The government's piling on debt. We're piling on debt. So debt's increasing. You have to pull back just a little bit, but that's mostly probably because people have gone bankrupt and just, they've been cut out, you know. It's like when you get caught cheating in Las Vegas, they pick you up and throw you out. So that's probably why the consumer spending's dropped off just a tad, but as you can see, the trend is still very strong. So we're still spending, even though we might not be confident. And here's the median income. This is a little disheartening too. As you can see, we're starting to tail off on median income in this country, and the median income is about $27,000 a year. So we're buying houses that cost $300,000 a year with $27,000 a year in income. We're buying cars that cost $35,000 and $40,000 when we have an income of $27,000. That's getting kind of stupid, but that's where we're at. Income is now beginning to drop off. I suspect it's dropping off a lot more because real income begins to drop off because it's eaten up by inflation. As the price of everything continues to go higher versus what you're making, it feels like you're making less because you can buy less with your money. And this is the money supply. You guys have probably heard that term before, but the government money supply that they keep pumping out, just like our consumer spending and our debt. Where do we get the money? The government picks it off little apple trees out back. Okay, they just invented it overnight. They got a magic wand, but that money supply continues to grow. Here's another look at the money supply, but as you can see, when we hit 2008, 2009, how much that money supply suddenly took this mammoth jump higher. So the people that run the country now are doing something different from any other group that's ever run the country. They're flooding the country, just like Zimbabwe did. Flooding the country, and they know if you flood the country, some of that flood works its way into the New York Stock Exchange, and that's the whole point of it. This is the Consumer Price Index. We were talking about inflation. Let me point something out very, very important right here. See the red line right here is the Consumer Price Index going all the way back to before the 1800s. So this is over 200 years, right? This red line right here. And you can see in 1976 it suddenly took off. Well, back in, what was it, 71, Nixon took us off the gold standard, for one thing. For another thing, the government is now taking control and they're pushing prices higher. They're trying to inflate the stock market. They don't care about any of this other stuff. But here's what's really important to me. See this period right here through the 1800s? This was the genius of Andrew Jackson, our 7th president. He vetoed the second national bank charter, which Congress, once again, the illustrious Congress, was trying to approve and get another charter for a central bank to keep running the country. Andrew Jackson vetoed it. If you want to read genius, go read Andrew Jackson's veto of the second bank charter. Every word, genius. Just absolute genius what he talked about. And in his veto, he laid it out, exactly what's happening today. He said, if I let this go through, I know what they're going to do. They're going to take over, they're going to strangle the economy, the big banks are going to run everything, and we'll have nothing. But that took guts. You know why? Because the Rothschild family that runs the central banks, they tried to kill him, and he told his vice president they're trying to assassinate me. That man had guts. There's no one on this planet right now that has the guts of Andrew Jackson. No one can stand up to him. But Jackson did. But look right here, this prosperity for 100 years. Then in 1913, the central bank is reinstituted by Woodrow Wilson. It's been a disaster ever since. Here's the national public debt. Congratulations, we're closing in on $13 trillion. Okay, we'll be there before long. We're at, I looked last night, 12.6 trillion. So we should pass 13 trillion before the summer. That's a lot of debt when you think about it. Here's the important part. It's not the debt that hurts. It's the interest on the debt. Think about what these people are doing now. Who runs the show? The central bank. Who provides the money? The central bank. Okay, they know the interest is going to choke us to death. What if interest rates jump up to 5, 6, 8, 10%? It's not going to happen. They're not going to let it. It can't happen. It'll crush us. Now, here's a pretty neat picture. This is $7.7 trillion in green. There's a guy out there that calculated the size of a bill, and he calculated 7.7 trillion $1 bills just laid end to end. What it would look like, it almost covers the entire state of South Carolina. That's a lot of money. But that's just 7.7 trillion. Remember, we're closing in on 13 trillion right now in debt. So you can think of North Carolina and South Carolina completely covered. That's how much debt we've got.